Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the American F4U-1D. Sitting at 3.3 battle rating in the American line, rank 3 Corsair. Lovely plane. I love me some Corsair. These planes are awesome, very survivable, very sturdy, very fast, very good in the dive. Handling in the dive is fantastic. They got that generic American firepower with 650 cals, but all in all, this plane is just wonderful to fly, and I really like me and enjoy me some Corsair, and this one is no exception. This one sits at 3.3 battle rating, is a little bit slower actually than the United States Marine Corps 1A that we didn't reviewed not too long ago. It's about a 10 kilometers an hour difference on all altitudes, and that is the main difference. They have the same engine, they have the same frame, but this one is a little bit slower in practicality in War Thunder. So there is that. There is the advantage for this plane that it has a little bit of ground pounding ordnance. Either you can equip 2 1000 pounders or you can equip 8 rockets, which is nice because that makes the plane a lot more versatile. You can take it into naval battles, you can take it into ground RB and wreak some havoc with this plane. After dropping off your ordnance, you have a lot of ammo to shoot down planes that are going after the tanks. In air RB, this is a great fighter that can also, as I said, it can be used as a close air support plane here. If you want that, I don't know why you would want that, but hey man, the option is there if you want to go for it. Now, before we get into the details of this plane, do make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Both of these actions help the video out a lot. YouTube looks for engagement, so do give me that. Don't let it drop. Also, if you have not subscribed yet, do make sure to subscribe to the channel, press that big red button and become part of the community. Don't miss any of the content that is coming out. We have a lot more great content on the way. I also want to ask you to join me on my other socials, on Locals and on Rumble, where I have a backup channel, and on Locals I have a channel where I share with you a lot of my views on other topics than War Thunder. It would be great if you would join me there. You can also financially support me on Locals if you would want to do that. Now, this plane, a maximum speed at sea level without WEP is 554 kilometers an hour without WEP and 570 with WEP. At 4500 meters this is 490 without and 515 with WEP. And finally at 6500 meters you can take her to 462 without WEP and 483 with WEP. These speeds are in indicated airspeed without Mach. Now, the top speed in a dive is 841 before she redlines and 900 plus kilometers an hour before she rips apart. I'm not exactly sure where she will rip because that is when I hit the ground, the deck. I dive from 8000, 9000 kilometers, doesn't make too much of a difference. The drag, the acceleration starts to compound and you do not really get the opportunity to accelerate towards your death. I didn't rip her before crashing into the ground in any of my attempts, so there is that. Take that for what it is. The control stiffening in this plane kicks in very late, that's why she's so great in a dive, and the handling in a dive is fantastic. The rolling stays very functional and it's very possible to get the guns on target in high speed dives. The control stiffening in this plane starts at 600 kilometers an hour, only slightly, and at 750 you get it a little bit more heftily in there when it comes to compression. The stall speed in this plane lies around 110 kilometers an hour, which is quite decent, but it's also a little less than the United States Marine Corps version, which had 100. Now, the firepower in this plane is good. You run with 6 12.7mm Browning machine guns, M2 Browning machine guns. 4 of those 6 guns have 400 rounds per gun, and the outer pair has 375 rounds per gun. The ammo loads in this plane are great. You have 400 rounds for most of your guns and 375. That is freaking fantastic. In the beginning, the average for the 50 cals is 200 rounds, and to have this many shots. It's just great ammo load, as I said. You can equip this plane with 2 1000 pounders and 8 HVAR rockets, and that gives you some options, some versatility when it comes to which mode you want to play. That is always nice, and which role you want to play in the mode you're playing. So in ARB you can also go close air support in this thing if you would choose to do so. Now the belts that I used mostly universal belt in this plane, which has 3 armor piercing incendiary shells, a tracer shell and an incendiary shell. But ground belt is also very viable with a tracer shell, 3 AP shells, an API shell and an incendiary shell. Tracer belt, it has 5 tracer shells and an API round. And then finally the stealth belt has an AP round, 2 API rounds and 2 incendiary rounds. These are all viable. The default belt in this American plane is not functional because of the ball ammo that you have in there, and that is really not effective. So you have to choose between universal, ground, tracer or stealth, and they all have something to say for them, all have something to go. So it is up to personal choice, I would say, which belt you would want to use. But I can definitely recommend the universal belt with the incendiary AP combination in the API, and then a tracer and incendiary shell. It gives a lot of fires, and the 3 API shells also bring a lot of destructions and kills. So all in all, this plane is that belt is very good for fires, let's say. Now the performance in this plane is quite nice. The acceleration in a straight line is very good. In a dive it's great. She really speeds up nicely and holds her speed very well as well. The energy retention in the horizontal is excellent, and in the vertical it is also excellent. So all in all, the energy retention in this plane with the powerhouse of an engine that you have here with the radial, it is absolutely stunning and very nice. The climb rate in this plane is just average though, slightly above average maybe. But it is not great in the Corsairs when it comes to that. It's big planes, heavy, and it does require that power to even get to average climb rate. You need a little bit of side climbing for this plane, and then set it up for the boom and zoom roll to start off with. Some energy fighting along the side, that's great. Turn time in this plane is average, above average with flaps. The flaps only rip off at around 470 kilometers an hour. Which is decent, but you can already reach those speeds in a straight line, so you run the risks of ripping off those flaps if you're not careful. But in the top end of the loop you can definitely use them quite safely, so to bring your plane about a little bit faster. Roll rate in the plane is very good, although it rolls a little bit off center from 630 kilometers an hour onwards. That is also true for the United States Marine Corps version and the 1A. I think I forgot to mention it in the video of the United States Marine Corps version, but it does roll a little bit off center as you get to your, top speeds, which can be a little bit annoying if you have to adjust too much to get a shot off, because it starts to roll off center, so your guns, they just pull off the target a little bit, and you do have to adjust for that. But if you do that, there will be no problem, and you just have to know it's not terrible, it is very doable. Now the maneuverability in this plane is decent to good. Overheating in this plane is quite there. For the engine, overheating is there. It does cool off easily, but it is not good when it comes to overheating in this plane. It needs a little bit of time to get there, but you do have that when you use a lot of war emergency power. It does cool off easy, so that's not too much of a problem. The plane is very durable, it's very good, can soak a lot of damage, very survivable. You do have protective plates for your pilot, so that is nice to have. It's a very survivable plane, very sturdy, and she usually does take you home, brings you home safely. The repair cost in this plane is 2,888 Silver Lions, which is below average. It is definitely an expensive plane to repair at this battle rating, but it's not very bad. It's not too high off the charge there. The rewards in this plane are quite average to bad, I would say. There is a 272% research point modifier on this plane and a 198% Silver Lion modifier. The research point one is average. It's what many planes have, or in the neighborhood of that 272%. And the Silver Lion modifier is just plain bad. It's just below anything that other planes have. It's not good, and it is definitely not a Silver Lion earner when it comes to that. And the research point is not great either. And well, this plane is not faster than the United States Marine Corps version, so there is already an argument to make why you would actually use this Corsair above the United States Marine Corps version, which is also still very capable of researching into rank 3. So there is not much reason to do that in my eyes. But yeah, this is a boom and zoomer and an energy fighter, and you have to use it according to that style. You can start by side climbing a little bit, make sure you're on altitude, and then use your boom and zooming. The excellent performance in a dive from this plane, taking into account that it rolls a little bit off center at top speeds, but it's still better than most, and you should be happy with this plane. It is a great performer in a dive and fills the boom and zoom roll fantastically. Also with that performance, the engine power gives you great acceleration. It's great in a dive, that's why you should use it. A little bit of energy fighting is also possible, but there's a lot of planes that are very dangerous in the lower to mid altitudes when it comes to just pure energy fighting, especially in the vertical. This Corsair is still a very heavy plane, which you gotta take into account. So against the lighter planes, it will have some problems. If you're on equal energy, you have to make sure that you have the energy on your side, that you take the time in the beginning of the match to bring you that altitude, and to make sure that you have that superior energy advantage to make sure that you can wreak havoc on the enemy team, which is definitely possible if you do make sure that you have that. But it just takes that many American planes have this, that in the beginning of the match you need to take your time to do the side climbing, to set the plane up correctly. See, is that boom and zooming plane that the Americans like. In the war they made a lot of these planes, like the Thunderbolt and the Mustangs, and the Corsairs are also no different. They vary a little bit in which area they excel at, but they almost always are good at boom and zooming. They are almost always very fast in the dive. They're always almost big planes, sturdy planes with huge engines in them that compensate for that huge frames and stuff like that. But yeah, the Corsair is a nice plane in that role, and you can definitely fulfill what you want to do with this plane. Here you see it a little bit, that you roll off center at high speeds. We're at 650 here, and the aim definitely rolls off, the guns roll off the target a little bit with that adjustment. That is a little bit annoying, but yeah, you just have to work around it. When you know it, you can adjust for it. It takes a little bit of practice, but yeah, many of the American planes have that rudder problem, which is what it is. Corsairs have it, and the Mustangs have it as well. So that is unfortunate, but it is what it is, and you can definitely work around it. It is not rocket science. You just need a little bit of adjustment, and small corrections are what works best when it comes to that. Now let's see what we got for rewards in that 7-kill game. That was a very effective game with a couple of AI planes in there as well. And let's see what we have. We have rank does not matter, final blow, hero of the sky, survivor, the best squad and balancer, 54,000 silver lions and 11,000 research points. We got first place in the team. I'll see you in the conclusion. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. This Corsair is very nice. It has a nice skin, looks very menacing and mean, but it's not the best Corsair around this battle rating. The 3.0 United States Marine Corps version is actually faster than this one. And if you're just taking it as a fighter, then it is actually better, because it has a lower battle rating and it is faster, and the rest is the same. So why fly the 1D? Well, it does have the ground pounding ordnance, it has bombs, it has rockets, So it is a little bit more versatile when it comes to that, and those are the advantages that this plane has. You can take it out in multiple game modes, and yeah, you can fill more roles with it. But that's the only advantage. This plane is slower than the United States Marine Corps version, and it has a higher battle rating. So I like how it looks, but there is no advantage to flying this plane over that one. And so yeah, I would advise you to stick to the United States Marine Corps version in rank 2. It also performs better when it comes to that. The rewards in this plane are not great, so make sure you remember that. It is not a great earner, especially in the Silver Lion department, and it has a high repair cost. So all in all, this is a great plane. I really like the Corsairs. Let's make no mistake about that. It's a great plane, boom and zooming, energy fighting, fantastic. But all in all, should you use this plane over the United States Marine Corps? I don't think so. So there is that. Great Corsair, always love me some Corsair, but yeah, it is not the best out there around this battle rating. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.